best of 5 series now getting underway. We are into the draft discourse. We are here on DotaBoomTV as always. Today we've got a special group of people covering, of course, this project, this particular best of 5 series. It's Ziori doing, of course, observing and production. Knoxville on stats for this first game. My name is Mont. Joining me today, of course, as always, is Purge. Kevin, how you feeling about this best of 5 series as we jump into it?
Dude, I'm excited. I love watching games like these. Digital Chaos did qualify for TI, so going to be interesting to see how they play. I don't know if they're going to try anything fancy because I think they're clearly the better team over Voidboys, but maybe Voidboys can make it close, and that's what I'm excited to see.
We actually just watched a best of 3 series between these teams 2 days ago. DC and Voidboys went toe-to-toe, and game number 2 was actually relatively close, all things considered. The game went about 40 minutes. Voidboys had a chance with Pat Soul Terrorblade, but it wasn't meant to be, and DC did take the series 2-0. So Voidboys, of course, they went down to the lower bracket. They got back up here, and now they're in the grand finals. No advantage going either way, except I think for pick and side advantage going the way of DC. But yeah, I think Voidboys are a relatively good team, and I think a lot of people are going to underestimate their play in this particular. And also, when they played against DC the first time around, they were actually using a stand-in, so something to keep in mind. Yeah.
Well, their opening is pretty safe. Tidehunter Disruptor, they can get tons of farm in their offlane. Their support obviously can set up kills, be strong against a lot of heroes, and offensively just punish mistakes. So I think Disruptor is a really good way to open their draft, and it's really not very counterable yet.
And it's just one of those it's one of those heroes that was picked so often, and at the Vanilla Major, at the TI qualifiers, it was picked pretty frequently as well. I don't think as much, but especially with the advent of Terrorblade being a very strong hero, everyone started picking that hero all the time. No Terrorblade just yet. If Voidboys want to go for it, they can pick it. The first 2 Beastmasters up there for them. They'll go for the Jug instead. Of course, can't be played mid, but interesting they picked the Jug at the first 2. It's kind of surprising to me, but I think whatever works for them, I suppose they want to go for it. Why not?
I like it as an opening. I mean, it's good against Tidehunter in lane because you can just do magic damage. Doesn't matter if it's Kraken procs. You can stop Glimpse. You can avoid Ravage at the start of the fight if you want to. It's just a safe opening. I think it's a great choice here for Voidboys. And also, if somebody gets glimpsed or caught in the Static Storm, you know, there's going to be a healing ward that could potentially save somebody. So I think it's an all-around good pick here.
Yeah, they'll pick it up at the first 2. I agree with you completely. I'm kind of interested to see what DC pick next, though. Like you talked about, because this is a team, like you said, they've qualified for the international already. There is $12,000 on the line here, so at least for first place, obviously. Second place, I believe, is $6K right afterwards. So there's a big change and a big dip in money, of course. So you kind of just have to go with I think. You have to go all out, I think, in this particular series. Maybe not for DC, but for Voidboys, they have to show what they got against this squad of Digital Chaos. Obviously, it's not going to be very easy, but some more bans coming through. And for DC, they have the Tidehunter Disruptor. We'll see what they want to play in the safe lane for Resolution. He's obviously just not going to have the Lifestealer this time, which has been banned out. But for Resolution, he's got a very wide hero pool, Purge. I think you have the Lifestealer, and then he's just got so much to work with.
I sort of agree. I think sometimes he's a bit limited. I've noticed a lot of teams banning out against Resolution, and they usually ban out like Lifestealer, Gyro, Clinks in most cases. I have a lot of faith in him as a player, but you have to remember that he did transition from a mid to playing carry now, so it seems like he isn't extremely comfortable on a lot of heroes, or they're just picking him that way. So it could be lots of stuff, but they've been on a Morphling, interestingly. I guess it would have been pretty good against Beastmaster, decent against Jug as well. So won't be seeing that this game. Maybe something they've been exploring in practice that we haven't seen yet.
The Morphling they played against Voidboys the other day with Resolution, and he crushed it. He actually went Dragonlance, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good build on Morphling. If you're ahead, it's really good.
Remember, they just had that best of 5 series between them and Complexity. Lots of Dota games being played between those 2 squads over the past couple of days. Lots of Dota 2, in fact, because they played that best of 5 series, and they played I think the series before that in the playoffs. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, so they played the best of 5 series, and they played in the winners finals as well. So DC and Complexity, and that's one thing I do want to talk about. Complexity, they did forfeit out of. Everyone thought it was going to be here, Canada Cup. We were going to see Complexity again versus DC in one of these grand finals, but that didn't end up happening because Complexity, of course, they had to forfeit. I think they were They were a bit tired out, perhaps, from the TI6 qualifiers. I don't want to make any speculation, but I think that they weren't all together, so they decided not to play. I don't remember if they gave an official word, but that did allow FDL to move on and, of course, play up against Voidboys in that losers bracket finals. But instead of complexity, we have Voidboys here. They'll pick up the line. Mirana's picked up for DC. How do you feel about the Mirana pickup, Purge, and where do you think that's going to be going?
I think it's all right for now. Just general AoE is very good to have against Beastmaster. Mirana versus Jug sounds all right as well because you can leap away from Omni Slash or Spin. So it sounds like it could work. It doesn't really look like anything super obvious just yet. May just be a comfort pick, something they want to try out. Don't know if it's going to be support. I could see DC just doing something that they want to practice on a little bit in an official game. I wouldn't be too surprised if they're doing something like that as well.
Yeah, that we talked about experimentation. DC definitely have that option, obviously, going into TI6. So
yeah, and one thing about the Mirana pick though is that with the Lycan, it's painting a better picture of what the Mirana might be picked for, and that I think is that they want something that's really strong at 25 minutes. Right now, all four of their heroes are really strong at that like 15 to 25 minute mark where they they get like one Necro 3, Tide's going to have like a mech or a blink, Mirana will have Ags, Disruptor's going to have some support items. And at that point, they should be able to take fights to Voidboys. Ideally, Beastmaster isn't quite finished with his Necro 3. Jug is maybe going to have maximum level 2 Omni Slash, so they could win some team fights with a good Ravage or a good Glimpse setup or even an Arrow. So I could see DC taking a lot of towers early this game and possibly finishing this game off real fast.
And then it's all going to come together with this last pick. We don't know whether this Mirana's support, whether this Mirana's mid. We know that there's a Lycan safe lane and a Tidehunter off lane. That's at least that's where we expect these heroes to go. And then Mirana, with the last pick coming out, whether it's going to be a support or a mid remains to be seen.
I think it's going to be a mid most likely, much more likely than it being a support. I mean, at least the way that their draft looks right now is that they want to exploit this early mid-game window. Mirana core is good at that. Mirana support, not as much. She's more hit or miss. If she misses her arrow, it's not good. If she has a slightly rough early game and she hasn't been able to finish a mech yet, then her items do almost nothing for her team either. So core Mirana, I think, looks a lot better for DC's lineup here.
Then Voidboys will pick up the Timbersaw, which has been picked up a lot for a lot of teams. Actually, every game I've seen so far today, I think I casted 6 games today. There's been, I think, a Timbersaw in just about each one. I might be wrong about that, but there's a lot of Timber coming out now, and if it is going to be a Mirana mid, there's a potential for a Timbersaw mid, although it could theoretically go offlane Beastmaster jungle. What do you think about Timbersaw versus Mirana mid, and then just in general, like the Timbersaw like mid against any hero for that matter? Like, what do you think about that mid?
Timbersaw's pretty strong mid, definitely, especially against melee heroes, since he can harass and is more resistant to harass. Mirana's not going to be able to do any damage to Timber, basically, except for some magic nuke, so until Mirana gets like level 3 in bottle, that's when Timber has to be a little worried, but at least for the basic laning stage, I mean, Mirana's going to have a tough time. She just has a low base damage, so
the base damage
if Timber stacks up his armor a little bit and he has a stout shield or a poor man's shield, Mirana's not going to be able to get that kill. So Timber can kind of get whatever he wants, Mirana can mostly get whatever she wants, and at some point she'll get an advantage.
Oh, the last pick, Omni Knight Purge. What a pickup coming up from Voidboys. And more than likely going to be their secondary support in this position. This is a hero that's not seen that much play. I think he got picked once, maybe, at the qualifiers that I saw.
Yeah, he wasn't even picked at the Manila Major. I don't believe he was one of the either. So,
yeah.
It's a bit of an interesting pick. It's very good versus Tidehunter and Disruptor and Mirana, though. So I think the goal is to repel Timbersaw and let him do whatever he wants against those heroes. But we'll see if that ends up working out. With a Lycan and a Death Prophet now, there's a lot of right-click damage. They may still die through that, but Omni Knight definitely has some good tools against DC's heroes.
Yeah, we'll see
Can
how
you get the levels in the farm, though?
That's the real question. Thing. It's the experience that you need. It's maybe even, like you said, a little bit of that farm going your way. And can the Omni Knight... It is being played by Clairvoyance, by the way. Can he do enough in this game to actually make things work out well for Voidboys? And again, it is going to be the Death Prophet mid for Weehaw, so it is not the Mirana as you had discussed earlier, which... I'm fine with either Death Prophet or Mirana going mid in that situation. I completely agree with you about being strong at 25 minutes. I think Death Prophet can also... Well, how do you feel about Death Prophet at 25 minutes is the better question.
Yeah, also very strong, assuming your early game went relatively okay. I think it basically fits their playstyle. The Misery is going to have a decent early game to contribute a bit more, and more importantly, has to land arrows and stuff. But I think it's fine. It fits the same kind of style of them being strong in the early game. Again... He's got to land arrows, but even if he doesn't, Death Prophet will make up for a lot of other shortcomings like lack of damage, lack of nukes, stuff like that. So sure. I think it's a fine pick.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see how DC... I think DC overall pretty confident with this draft, and that's not a good sign for Voidboys. Voidboys picking up a cheeky pick to maybe help them along here. Of course, with Clairvoyance playing this Omni Knight, he is going to go for boots first. We'll have to see how effective he is going to be. He's currently heading down towards bottom in what could be a aggro dual lane to help with this Beastmaster. Although Snake King, no Iron Talent, so it looks like, yeah, he's going to try to situate himself in this lane instead of just heading to the jungle immediately, which isn't uncommon, but there's been a lot of Iron Talent jungling straight from the get-go recently, Purge.
30 seconds.
My initial assumption was that they would just do Omni and offlane essentially while they jungle snaking, but that poor pig.
Yeah, that was, I think, unintentional from Snaking. Still, it's Misery getting 30 gold. He's like, well, I guess that's...
And they get the ward.
It could be worse. Yeah, exactly. They pick up the ward. Misery will get that too, so he actually gets 130 gold to start things off, so that's a nice little bit of bounty going away from Mirana, but...
Yeah, huge start for him. He's got 3 more clarities in his inventory. This is basically how you have to play roaming Mirana, because every time that you arrow neutral, you lose 100 gold or 100 mana, and that will add up over the course of the game. It's like Omni's just going to do as much harassment as he can against Weehaw.
Purification, but Spirit Siphon and more right click from Weehaw actually making this more hurtful for Clairvoyance than it is for Weehaw in this situation.
That actually wasn't that bad for Wee. I maybe would have liked him to go through the river instead of his pathing, because he's gonna... No, he's still fine. He doesn't miss any experience. That was actually not a good trade.
He's not gonna miss any experience, like you mentioned. Yeah, he's fine. He can even... The only thing is he'll miss a potential deny or 2 on 747, but...
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, 747 went for a poor man's shield, but we've seen like Quelling Blades on Timbersaws. There's a Blade Fury top, bottom lane, High Noon's in trouble. It looks like they're going to glimpse him back. Arrow's going to come through. High Noon, one more right click, and they get the job done in time. Looks like he will be able to make it up. Purification ready as well. It's going to be tough to bring him down. With boots first, too. Misery's looking. He's going to exit the jungle. More right clicks coming out. Still has that Purification. He's running a marathon. Clairvoyance literally ran across that bottom lane and is pulling a creep wave as well. Has 9 HP, and only way that Misery gets this kill is if he hits an arrow. And he's going to go for it, and Clairvoyance will just dodge it. Purify himself, and then... Still going to take more right clicks from Misery. This is a strange chase, but it's finally over.
Alright, I think he messed up a little bit. He bought a TP scroll, but not at the side shop, so got a little iffy, but creates some space, I guess. Lycan runs around and doesn't get last hits during that.
That's the biggest thing.
If you look at the last hitting, though, it's looking real good for Voidboys. DC's been... They have 4 heroes farming, obviously, but they're sitting at a bit lower totals. I guess they're catching up a bit now. It's just looks a little lopsided due to all the roaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the first minute and a half, and you're not farming on your Lycan because you're chasing around the Omni, as you mentioned. But we'll see how this tri-lane bottom progresses. And it's that mid lane matchup right now that's really interesting. Glimpse back, High Noon's going to get caught. There's the kinetic field. He does a Purification. He'll get it off. Heals himself nicely. Soxu will just zone himself out and just right-click, and then Misery will come in. This might be a kill. It's going to be close. Leap forward. Arrow is going to connect nicely. Misery slides to find that arrow connection, and that will be first blood that he gains on top of already having a pretty good start with getting some extra CS in the jungle alongside getting that nice little boar kill as well. So some good starts for Misery here.
And he goes for a Orb of Venom, interesting choice, but you may be confused because he's a ranged hero, but it actually does very, very good damage for the gold. So for a hero that has very low base damage but has a long range attack, he can actually try to harass and zone a offlane hero a bit better. Kind of a cool choice.
So it's more of the damage than of the slow is what you're telling me.
Definitely. I mean,
4% slow is not great.
That's terrible. That's like 12 movement speed, basically. Like, is that really worth first 275?
It's not noticeable, I'm sure.
Yeah, it does 9 damage after reduction, because I think it does magic, but I might be wrong.
That's a good question. One that I don't know. Moo's dead top lane. Blade Fury comes out. There's the Hex as well. One more right click. Yep. It's a bit close to not getting that kill. Make opponent just had enough damage from his own base damage to get the job done. It is a bit scary, but they will get the job done on the Moo. He'll fall, and so offlaners... Well, Arrow's going to come through. It's going to connect on his 747. He got blocked by the creep. The Spirit Siphon and a Crypt Swarm not even necessary, nor do they have mana for it. The Howl came through from the Lycan to help out as well. Nicely done from Resolution, and really Misery there overall.
Yeah, that arrow was perfect timing. And sometimes you got to go for those shots. I guess it is a little bit more straightforward against Timber players because they often do stand in enemy creep waves like that. But either way, good for Misery to be there at the right time, and they get a really good kill.
Yeah, that's... I want to say that was partially luck, but I don't think it was. I feel like it was just he had a good arrow. He got unfortunate stepping into the creep wave, which of course he's a Timber player, as you mentioned. So he'll have to keep his eye on that Mirana to make sure he knows where she's situated. Hopefully at all times for the Timber, as she's now back down bottom. Level 1 glimpse staking could have been caught there, but Resolution won't be able to find any further right clicks and auto attacks, and so it's back to trading and hopefully just more CSing for Resolution now up to 15 last hits.
Well, they've got a haste on Mirana. See if they can pressure somebody out of this.
Misery will trade. He repelled Misery. That's
he did it on purpose to remove the haste.
Okay. Oh,
wait,
yeah,
actually, I don't think that works anymore, does it?
It does. I believe you're correct in that assumption. He lost the haste for sure. That's just like, I was like, I thought he meant to do it on himself so that he wouldn't get arrowed, but that just seemed like a waste. So yeah,
I think
you're
if
right
you
about
cast
that.
it on an ally that has haste, it doesn't remove it anymore, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess
well, he didn't have the haste buff when he casted it on. Like, it took it off. But.
Okay, yeah, but I thought there was a patch update about it. That's why I'm bringing it up. I think there was a change, but I'm not 100%. Arcane Boots from Rana now. That's really early. He can leap out of this. I think.
He should leap. Well, he got very close to not making it. He's still taking poison dots from that boar. The Axis Purification's not there in time. Wasn't really close. Arrow's going to connect on a Clairvoyance, and that should be long enough duration stun to bring him down. Even if it wasn't, he still didn't have Purification. Now Snakey's good back set as well in Resolution. He'll pop the Howl, but he doesn't feel like fighting this as he's too low in HP. Understandably so. There's a good effort coming out.
He's freaking owning on Murano support.
He's looking for another arrow.
Like this.
Kinetic Field, Snaking. Ooh, it hits the boar. Now Misery's low. He's got another leap. Repel up into Snaking this time. Now top lane, Moo's getting chased down. One more right click, not there. Salva's up and Moo will survive. They had to dive the tower. The auto attack from the line didn't complete, so they wouldn't be able to get that kill in that situation. And everyone is super low coming out from DC, and Misery will end up denying himself. Look at this HP bar up at the top of this this game. It's actually nuts.
Yeah,
from everybody.
Really, they're pushing all of their heroes to their limits. Repel no longer removes buffs on allies and debuffs on
enemies. Question mark.
So doesn't that mean that the haste should have been removed?
It was removed.
I'm very confused. Unless
let's just all right. Listen, he made the right play. I believe is all that we need to worry about.
That's not necessarily true because we don't know if the mechanic still works like that.
I don't know, dude. Don't ask me. I'm just gonna assume that it was because 1 minute he had just gotten the haste rune and then the repel went and then the haste was gone. That's all I know about that. Yes.
So it does. You can debuff your enemies, but it doesn't debuff your allies. Correct? Okay.
Okay. Well.
Okay. I interpret it as I was wrong.
I'm not even gonna begin to go there, so we're just like we're gonna let that go.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move on with the game of Dota.
This aggro dual lane that Voidboys has been doing, I see some value in it, but they've just been having a bit of a tough time, partially because of Misery just outplaying them a little bit, landing good arrows, getting good damage in. And I'm sure the whole Lycan being there doesn't make it easy either.
No, I mean, with Hal, with the amount of damage he can do, as an arrow is going to get thrown mid, 747 will be able to just avoid it by sitting back.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that or not, but there were 2 wolves that died there mid. He's just summoning wolves and sending them places to help out with ganks. Because if they get lucky, it applies a slow. It's a,
the main,
I'm sorry, it's just attack speed. It's not movement speed. Yeah, it is. I thought it was movement speed.
That's movement speed. No, wait, maybe that's the shapeshift form? It's one of the wolves or the shapeshift. I remember one of the memes. I'm almost positive. I might be wrong about that. But...
It looks like they from the tooltip it just says attack speed. So I guess I'm wrong. But
I thought for sure there was a meme over from one part of that, but whatever.
Oh, Snake King in trouble.
Kinetic Field will come out. Thunder Strike's there, and
too many creeps. Their nuke damage is hard to do if there's a lot of creeps around, basically. The Beastmaster's scouting out Mirana, so there's no way he'll land an arrow here, or at least he shouldn't. He will try to get the Omni, though.
Yeah, that was close. Like you said, with the Hawk there, it's just not a chance. And 8-minute rune will be taken by, hopefully, the Timbersaw. It's a regen rune. Nice rune to grab for a Timbersaw, to be sure.
Yep, and he's got Soul Ring and Fuse Raindrop coming, so him dying in lane is a lot less likely than it was before.
He's a tanky hero now with an Infused Raindrop. Great item. Great item, honestly. Let's move up to.
It's so useful. It really, even for like a lot of support heroes who are normally like, oh, I need a small mana regen item, they'll have to buy Urn or Medallion or something like that. This way they can just spend 225 and really make their early game roaming and movement a lot more efficient. It's a really good item.
Yeah, it's very good. Just for those 2 reasons. I mean, the fact that you're inherently tanky with it and also gives regen. Who knew? It's not a lot, but it's enough. And
you know what's the weirdest thing about this game is that both offlanes just chose to pretend that what's that item crap?
Iron Talon didn't exist.
Yeah, that Iron Talon didn't exist. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like they're like, oh, we're just gonna go to lane this game.
Roar to Sox at bottom. Kinetic Field is not gonna save him. It's a good purification, good Roar. High Noon will try to repel. They will TP out Snaking. I don't think Clairvoyance will be lucky enough to make it away. Purification's up in 1, doesn't have any wand charges. And you need the repel to go off of him too, but Resolution will find the kill onto the Omni Knight. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Giving it to Resolution is probably more impactful, but I might be wrong about that. I think that's still a very big kill though for DC one way or the other.
Yeah, it is a huge kill. Again, the bird keeps getting arrowed here. If they could have landed on line, they might have been able to kill him. But either way, Misery's still leveling fine. He's almost level 6 now.
Yeah, wow.
He hasn't bought an intelligence tome or an glimpse back mid.
Nick Field, 747's gonna get caught. Crypt Swarm, Infused Raindrops won't save you this time. And Misery's here, he's like, well, I could have arrowed, but instead I'll just help you push. And I'll use the Glyph for now and rotate, move over, so the threat of a Ravage is also there. Mega Proner is smoked up though, and he's looking for an Earth Spike. Maybe a target for his finger that he had just gotten. His level 6 is now accrued.
I really like that move, rotated over for this, so smart.
Oh no, Mega Proner, Ravage onto 2, Anchor Smash Starstorm's up, Patsoul, Blade Fury. They won't take the tower, not yet. Good Blade Fury damage from Patsoul. But now the Exorcism is going to work. He's no mana for Omni Slash, has to pop up the Healing Ward. They're going to go back in, the Glimpse back up now. They'll find Patsoul. No follow-up though. They needed an arrow, Misery wasn't really set up for it. And that'll be the end of the push, at least for now.
Well, that could have gone a little better for Voidboys, I think. They made a couple of mistakes, so they're going in.
Weehaw, Static Storm doesn't connect on 747 finger. They brought down one. Weehaw, Spirit 7 keeping him up a lot and actually turns around and kills the Timbersaw. Now High Noon arrow might come through. He sidesteps it to the left. Patsoul looking to come back in with the Omni Slash. He'll find it. Hits onto 2, but not enough damage. Good Blade Fury though. Might get both of these. Another Spirit 7 Starstorm falling. They still can't bring him down. And it's the Purification on top from Clairvoyance that gets the kill onto Weehaw, bringing him down. Nicely done.
That was so close. I thought for sure that they were going to get double killed there against the Death Prophet, but really nicely done by Omni Knight there. He repelled himself to stop the magic damage, and then he purified Jug as soon as he could. And it was close. You can't cast it when he's spinning, but it turns everything. Voidboys should have killed the Death Prophet earlier, though. They were just a little bit weak on it. They didn't quite focus well enough, but overall a good fight for Voidboys considering how that fight was looking.
Yeah, I mean, Patsoul gets involved. He's now to his Perseverance. He gets a lot of the involvement there, 2 assists going his way. He's going to go back to top, continue to farm up. Decadent net worth right now, only to Resolution. And we'll check out the replay as we progress through and look towards this later stage of the game. You talked about how strong DC are at 25 minutes, but Voidboys are looking to contest that timing window. Weehaw going on 747 almost will bring him down. He might be able to with his Crypt Storm and another one, but it's actually going to be the Shapeshift that'll try for it, and 747 will know that he's coming. There's a ward there. Weehaw almost dies to the tower in the meantime. Resolution looking to dive behind the tower. The Howl will come through. 747's back up to half health. Resolution, well, that's going to be that. That was awkward.
Possible fight top, maybe? A little pressure at least.
Moo is dead to Blade Fury. Maybe. He's going to be close. The Hex is up. Kraken shells it. And there's the Anchor Smash. Just does not enough damage reduction. Pretty good Starstorm damage from Misery. He even kills the Healing Ward. So Patsoul will have to reach in using his Perseverance. But Moo gets a bit too aggressive here. And he's actually going to pay for it.
I mean, it was a kind of a cool idea. They were trying to bait the line in so that they could arrow Starfall him. But they had the ward there. They knew that the Mirana was in the area. And they were able to stop it. So no arrow connected. And then the fight was basically over there. So a little bit greedy. At most, they would have traded Tide for a line, most likely.
Yeah. The Tide does end up falling. He's building towards his mech, and he's going to get close to it. Bottom lane, though, Sox is getting chased down. You have the 1 point into Degenor, so it's a nice move from Moo. Moo is actually going to get caught. Purification goes. Ravage connects. Only on a staking is High Noon has been Clairvoyance is, of course, repelled up. Guardian Angel, but they do have the arrow connecting, and with all of that magic damage, they bring him down nonetheless. They even get the glimpse back as well, but he repels himself again in time. Clairvoyance making sure that he stays alive. Unfortunately, it does leave the Beastmaster out to dry in that situation.
Yeah, it was a little lucky for Omni. He had an Arcane Rune, so his repel was off cooldown a lot faster than they expected. Nice little gank, though. It does cost them Ravage, but they keep moving around and taking towers after their pushes, so
and they have actually getting a lot out of this. They have they can pop the R button from the Death Prophet, and it looks like they might do that.
They probably should, yeah. Oh, yes, they're thinking about it. They're going to wait for the next creep wave.
Yeah, wait for the next creep wave, then go in and Misery maybe look for another arrow, but he's already dropped up that. By the way, Misery is a Midas, which is beautiful timing on top of his arcanes. And Glimpse back actually comes in. I think they were trying to get the Timbersaw out as I think they thought the TP'd in, but he will stay, and they will not use the Exorcism for this push, and instead they will just split up again and continue to farm across the map.
So this is basically why DC is winning this game. It's because they keep showing up to lanes with all of their heroes unexpectedly, and then they instantly start pushing it. It's forcing Voidboys to react. It happened mid, it happened top. So even if they lost their hero top and they didn't get a kill, they still took the tower because they're showing up more rapidly and Voidboys isn't necessarily expecting it, and they're not able to rotate as fast. And because they have decent team fighting heroes, then they can take those fights. So here's a case of Voidboys doing the opposite. They're pressuring bottom now, and now DC has to be on the back foot and has to go get mana. So working out pretty nice for them.
And I'll take the Timbersaw, grabbing that tier 1 tower down bottom. He's now up to boots, a soul ring. Trying to transition into that Bloodstone. Weehaw was stunned up by Omega opponents. Their spike and a Hex came through, but there was no follow-up damage. As Clairvoyance decided not to use the Purification. They didn't have enough damage between the two of them anyways. And so now it's just more farming as Resolution continues to accrue a lead in net worth, although Pat Soul's not far behind. His Battle Fury is close to completion. Once you get that item, all of a sudden things get a little bit more dicey for DC. But again, more further aggression from Voidboys in that bottom lane. Resolution is TPing into the tier 1 tower, staking. He finds the Roar, pops up the Necro units as well, and Resolution is going to get Earth Spiked and immediately blown up as they just throw him down. No finger necessary from Omega Poner as well, but here we go. Looks like DC are going to try to fight this. They have Static Storm ready to go. They've got a Starstorm glimpse back in. They'll find at least the Timbersaw. No repel there. They've already used it, unfortunately, onto Clairvoyance, so Omega Poner getting chased down. Good Purification. Meanwhile, Timbersaw is going to TP away. Arrow, not in time. Misery was on target, but unfortunately, not in time. Spirit Siphon, Omega Poner, one more right click, and we will find a second kill for himself, and a killing spree on top of all of that. So even though they lose Resolution, they do turn 2. They defend their 2-2 tower. They could have gotten Timbersaw, but he does slither away in the end.
Yeah, that was okay for DC. They didn't even have to use Ravage for that, so losing their Lycan was a nice move by Voidboys, but stopping the push, picking up the other 2 is going to be a-okay for them, especially because Misery is doing so well this game. Like, he's going to get an Ags at a reasonable time as a support. Like,
which is nuts.
It's a bad sign for
I mean, he's right now the same net worth as the Tide Hunter is, and Tide has a full mech.
He's almost the same net worth as the mid Timbersaw on his opponent's team. That is a scary thing.
Yeah.
So even if Lycan does get a little under farmed this game, I don't think it's that big of a threat. Now for Voidboys though, they do have Jug farmed, and they're going to go for a fight here.
They're going to smoke up, no vision coming out. It does not look like DC have scouted this, and they've all split up in Weehaw. He's going to be the target, and boy, is he a big one. Earth Spike, Roar Finger. Oh my god, see you later, dude. Nice to know ya. Shape shift from Resolution because he knows he's in a bad spot. And they'll transition this into a tier 1 tower. That literally took like less than a second to blow him up.
Yeah, a little bit of spell overkill. I think they minimum should have saved the Roar. But Finger of Death or Spike.
Moonlight Shadow.
They have plenty of damage.
They have Ravage. Pat Soul is going to be able to Blade Fury out though. It looks like they know that something is up. They have a sentry down. That's the reason why. Comes back. They'll find no one as the repel comes in just perfectly timed from Clairvoyance on that Omni Knight.
Yeah, nicely done. Stop the wave push a little bit. They're going to go for another
Static Storm onto 2. The kinetic field, but the Omni Slash pushes them back. They off to the mech as well. The the Ravage will fly finally now hitting onto 2. They had the repel ready to go for Pat Soul, but they will bring down Omega Poner first. 747, good rolling depth Purification hits on the move, but that's it for the time being. Veil's down, Exorcism will go. They're looking for the glimpse back. They'll find it on the Timbersaw. Resolution looking for his own right damage. Timberchain away in time. He's low, but not low enough to bring down. They still are looking for more damage. Looking for a glimpse back. They have no mana for it. Disruptor on cooldown as well. Sox has 13 stick charges. He is falling as pretty much as close as he can, and he still cannot find a glimpse target. He's looking for it, but unfortunately, no such luck.
Dude, this Omni's playing so well. It's basically hard countering the Disruptor. He keeps casting it to stop all the damage.
Oh, Misery is so low. 20 HP from that Timber Chain and Whirling Death. Arrow's going to come through. It'll actually split between all of them, and they don't get anything done with that Exorcism. Nor the Ravage. They got, one kill out of it, I think, was all they took from it, and that's it, I believe.
Yeah, they tried to Ravage an important target, but he got repelled. Same situation. Voidboys is just kind of outplaying them with the Omni. It's really paying off here.
So the Lion was the only dead hero for Voidboys in that fight altogether, and they still have GA. They have Omni off cooldown in 50. They have Roar ready to go. Fingers done in 50 as well. So they're going to find another target. Zoxa, good kinetic field. Probably will keep him alive. Omega Poner couldn't get off that Earth Spike in time, nor the Hex, and so they'll turn their attention back towards the tier 1 tower, with the exception of Omega Poner and 747, who are wrapping all the way around looking for Soxa.
You know, I think what the problem in that last fight was the fact that DC didn't follow up on the Static Storm. If Tide moved forward and Ravaged on top of that, while the rest of his team maybe dealt with Jug, I think it might have turned out a bit better.
Speaking of Static Storm, they'll get it on 2 again, but this time they only connect on 1 with the kinetic field, and Soxa is going to have to back up in a way. The Gush will come out into staking. Arrow's already used for Misery. The glimpse back comes in, staking. Actually, the Starstorm with that Veil on top of the Spirit Siphon and Crypt Form. More than enough damage to bring him down. So they finally get I wouldn't even call it a favorable trade because if they lose the tier 1 tower, they still get staking out of the deal. 747 will be able to Timber Chain away, throw up the Chakram to slow down Resolution's aggressive plays, but they're turning their attention over back towards that raiding jungle, pinging out Roche a little bit. We'll see if they want to go for him. Looks like that is going to be the case.
I guess they can do this. They've got, what, Necro 2 here?
Yeah.
Vlads.
Yeah.
Lots of heroes that can fight. They've got... Oh, they don't have Ravage, actually. Gun at 15, though, but no Beastmaster means that there's no vision from Hawk.
And all their ultimates are up in like 15 to 20 seconds. Exorcism's up in 12, so yeah. Clairvoyance is going to come in with Repel. It's too late, though. They've already gotten the Aegis, or, well, they're about to, and they will get it with the Resolution. And look at a right-click. He's going to have to JA himself, and will do so. Earthspike does hit nicely onto 2. Good Purification, but it's not nearly enough damage. He drops a ward down before getting glimpsed back, and ultimately maybe dying here. As he has Repel, he'll get it off in time. Purification's not there for another 3, and he's dead. So it was an aggressive play to try to run into the pit there, but nice play from DC to know that they can Roche, and they're able to accomplish a big objective.
Yeah, I'm not sold on him moving in there, but I think he thought that the Roche would die a lot slower than that. They ended up killing it very rapidly, and by the time he got there, they were able to chase him, and it didn't delay it that much. So just a little unfortunate timing, bad prediction from him. We'll try to get a kill, though.
They did smoke for this, by the way. They have Static Storm on Pat Soul. They're going to come through. They have another silence with, of course, the Death Prophet on top. The Gush comes out. Finger. They've saved him so far, but the Spirit Siphon's enough damage for Weehaw. Still, he's going to fall, but there's the Ravage. Connects onto 2. Omega Porter will fall to the Starstorm, and Snaky will be next to the right click of Moo, the Tide Hunter. That giant Leviathan hits his hammer home. Will bring Staking down. 3 dead. 747 and Clairvoyance, the only 2 survivors. Yes, Weehaw did go down. Still a great engagement for DC. And they, I think, want to push into this Tier 1 tower. They want to finally bring it down.
And Sox's ability to just hit crazy Static Storms is really impressive. He's just consistently landing them. Like, if people are walking along, and he's like, Static Storm Kinetic Field, and he gets them. And he sets up these fights for his team where he can just kill the enemy carry. Like, he just prevents Jug from doing anything in that fight.
Yeah.
Just super heads-up play.
And Jug had yet to die that entire game, and all of a sudden Sucks drops a Static Storm down, and boom, he's dead. It makes things a lot easier for DC.
Especially because it's the point before Jug really gets tanky in terms of HP, so huge kill there.
Yeah. Jughead finished up a Yasha, but that was it. By the way, they cannot take the Sierra Tower. Chakram's pretty hard to push into, as shocking as that may be to some of you.
I don't know if it's that big of a deal, though. They're still looking really good on DC's side. Like, Misery's insanely farmed for a support position. Death Prophet's, you know, a little bit behind where she would like to be, but she's getting there. She's going to have Yules soon, and Yules will make her a lot more survivable against Omni Slash, against Damage Burst, lots of things.
What do you think about the casual vitality booster? We've seen this a lot, so I don't think.
Yeah.
I just want to get your thoughts on it, honestly.
We've been seeing a lot more lately, yeah, but it you know, covers against all damage types, magic, pure, physical. It doesn't matter. It's good against all of them. It can be turned into like a heart at some point. It can be turned into other things.
Misery down bottom, Chakram Earth Spike. Finger not being used as he's been stunned up. Well, actually, he's using his mana drain. He actually didn't have mana for the Finger, I don't believe. Not that it matters. They will still bring down the Mirana, but here comes Resolution with the Shapeshift. He's got his creeps chasing after him, the Necro units, but the Axis will come through, and Resolution's kind of getting blocked by himself.
Great.
Good Earth Spike into Timber Chain. They turn it around. They even get the Repel off. He still has that Aegis, mind you, so even bringing him down is not going to ensure that he gets the kill. They'll turn back with a Gush onto 747. He'll Timber Chain out there with the Repel back up, and Moo can't find that Anchor Smash, even if he did. 747 would still be able to TP. They were looking for that glimpse back with Soxa, but again, that Repel was still there for the Omni Knight. Resolution, by the way, has got a Blade of Alacrity and a Robe of the Magi.
Yeah, diffuser blade for sure.
Yeah.
You need one against Omni Knight, though. Against Repel, you can, like, somebody might play a little bit overly aggressive if you pop your Diffusal out of nowhere. They might play really, they'll run in saying, like, oh, I've got Repel, I'm fine, and then you just Diffusal Blade and kill them. And if you can combo that correctly, it can just win you a team fight and completely change game momentum. So an occasional Diffusal Blade pickup's really good, and it's not bad on Lycan either. Obviously, the damage it gives him isn't amazing, but he does lack some utility and some lockdowns, so being able to slow somebody and chase them would be really good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against diffusing on a Lycan, but like you mentioned, it's particularly useful against the Omni Knight. It's a must-have item for a lot of players in this situation, these circumstances. So,
yeah, he could really kill heroes like Lion a lot easier as well if he finds them. Just spread the Necros out, the Wolves, and wrap around and keep Diffusal Blading him until he dies.
2 forms of mana burn, which is nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
another cool thing, yeah.
I mean, you never really think about that with the Necro Archer and the Diffusal Blade pickup for a Lycan, but I guess you got it. So, Smoke up from DC was not scouted. I don't believe this Observer Ward did not see it for the Dire team for Voidboys, but they are playing relatively together for Voidboys down bottom. They have 747 and 2 other heroes in the vicinity. Top is where Patsol is situated, and then mid, of course, was where Clairvoyance is. And unless they decide to dive behind that Tier 2 tower, I don't see them getting that kill. And it looks like that's not going to be the case. They do have 747 TPing back home. And There's a courier flying bottom. I think they spouted it out with the observer ward. Soxa is smoked up still. They find the Yule. Static Storm might be next. They get off the silence, and the arrow connects beautifully. Just that timing. They even get off the Static Storm on Clairvoyance so that he can't get off his repel as well as Purification. This time he does, however. He walks out, gets through the kinetic field. Exorcism still doing some nice work to him. They'll turn their attention towards this tier 2 tower in that mid lane. Glyphs will go. Meanwhile, top tier 2 is being pushed, and as well as Resolution's bottom. And they don't have that creep wave. As you talked about, this backdoor protection is there. They will finally bring it down. Meanwhile, Resolution is going to force Pat Soul to TP back, and then bottom lane. Well, that's still right for the taking if you are Voidboys, but they won't push in. The Wolves will chase Omega Poner down. And
Logs have scouted this. They're still going to fall in with Wolves is really smart. If Omega Poner stays here, they could just kill him. And he thinks that he's invisible, but...
Comes back. Like, see you later. No CP now. And he's just blocked in every way, shape, and form.
Super well
try
done
to finger one. I don't know. That's just
definitely
a really
not
smart
finger.
play. No, there's nothing he can do in that situation. You're right. And like you said, Resolution with the Wolves following. Just smart micro, really, is all that it comes down to.
And he gave him a move command, not an attack command, so just to guarantee that they didn't break the Invis and let him know that he was there. So Ags is up on Mirana now, so there could be the potential of some crazy new team fights if they land an arrow or some stuns.
We're not even, there's like literally no magic resistance or immunity coming out from Voidboys, and you have to deal with a Agon as Mirana. That's just frightening.
Good choice for them to run here. Like they don't have Exorcism just yet, so a little safer just to not engage. They're ahead. They don't really want to take a fight that isn't completely in their favor. So they'll play safe for now and go back to playing normal, defend their lanes, occasionally push when they win a team fight, and play it safe.
Yeah, they have a 5,000 net worth advantage at 25 minutes in. It's not the biggest lead in the world, but it's something. 747, he might get caught. Timber chains away. The glimpse back is there. They do not have that Omni there in time. He was close, but he couldn't quite get that repel off. The Ravage will come through, and he can't get it off in time. No GA, no repel. Purification will finally come in, and he will fall a second time here as they get the double kill now coming out from Weehaw. 2,100 gold, and that's just a great Ravage, great Static Storm, great glimpse back coming up from Soxa, and easy kills.
Yeah, I love the Ravage there. It almost guaranteed that Timber saw didn't suicide as well. I think he could have gotten away with it, which would have been kind of counterintuitive to what DC wanted to do, but they're going to instantly turn this into a push. It was a great place to take a fight. They're so close to a tier 1 tower that if they win that fight, dead heroes, dead towers.
And they even use Exorcism for that, by the way.
Yeah.
This is great. There's some split push coming in from Voidboys, which is actually doing a lot. It's going to force the TP rotation back towards top. Already forces TP back towards mid from Soxa. That still should actually take this tier 2 down, which is nice. So it'll be a trade, although the trade will favor DC because they get the tier 1 and the tier 2.
Yep, I think DC is completely happy with that. Like, Jug will be split pushing them, and the fact that they've delayed it this long is already a pretty good spot.
Ooh, what do you think about the BKB for Jug, by the way?
He kind of has to against this many silences and a Ravage. Like, if he uses Blade Fury, then he's not doing very much damage. If he uses BKB instead, then he can really focus on killing people. It's a good choice, honestly. Like, he kind of has to this game. There's just too many counters to him.
Doxo will scout out High Noon, will immediately get that repel diffused off, and he's like, well, I guess I'm just dead. I don't want to use GA there.
Yeah, that's the counter I was talking about.
That's
sometimes you don't expect it, and you're like, oh, this is okay, and then you just die instantly.
Then he died. And Resolution still shapeshifting out with a creep wave towards that tier 3 tower. Necros should be ready. He won't pop them, however, and unless they can find another kill. Or they're going to go high ground right now. I guess they will go for it. Weeha's going to pop the Exorcism. There goes the Necro units. Immediately, Misery jumps in, looks for the Starstorm, will make a opponent with the counter. Initiation finds a Hex. Leaps himself away into safety as now top lane's getting split pushed by Snaking. But at the time here to get to that tier 3 tower, they've lost a full set of racks. And it looks like DC are already back into the defend. They're keeping one home. Its Resolution is already there to make sure this is taken care of. And that's it.
This lineup's so scary. Like, if they ever lose a team fight, they instantly take buildings with Lycan, with Death Prophet, even Mirana can clear creeps.
Oh, God. Misery has a blink leap, and Snaking's like, how do I run from that? He luckily dodges the arrow. And, well, now he kind of has to, he has no TP was the problem here, so he's dead one way or the other. I was going to say if he could avoid the glimpse back or just TP out now, but unfortunately he didn't have a TP in that situation. Moo! Come on, buddy. You can't do that. That's not very nice.
They wanted to get that Eggs value where, you know, they don't spend mana to kill him.
They were, like, sitting there for, like, 2 seconds. Just like, okay.
I mean, there's not a lot of times in a Dota game to taunt, you know? You gotta take your opportunities when you get them.
If you are a taunter, I suppose. Good for Moo, getting off the backstroke. great form. As a former swim coach myself, I can guarantee that the Tide Hunters form with backstroke was top tier.
That's really great to hear. Good for him.
I'm glad that you're really giving me the thumbs up on this one, Kevin.
No problem, man. Always here to support you. Ooh, Curse Snipe?
No.
Okay, did die.
They got it.
Those heat-seeking arrows, man, they're pretty strong.
Resolution will take the tier 2 tower now together as a team. And we'll bring it down and push it to the tier 3 towers. Now the 747 is split pushing bottom, but he's forced to TP back home as well.
They're doing a great job prepping the lanes by pushing like this, but they've got to win a fight at some point.
The ward is up on the high ground now. You see. I'll immediately de-ward it with the sentry placed, so.
They have time for exorcism at least, so they can delay this a bit.
Is the pro ship anytime soon? Oh man, it's almost back straight from Roche respawn. Yeah, it's about to respawn though for either side if they want to take it.
And Murano's pushing out the bot lane now. I think they're playing it just super safe. They really just want to guarantee that they get a kill before they push. That's what they do before they really commit.
First game in the best of 5 series, looking like it's going to go DC's ways. They found the Static Storm. Patzel immediately pops the BKB. There's the Omni Slash as well, but it's going to get split up between some of these creeps on top, and it's just not enough damage. Patzel's BKB now about to be down in 1 or 2 seconds here. He's taking a lot of damage from Resolution. He's going to have to spin and get out of here as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Weeha's going to get figured out, but Ravage counter initiation. They have the Spirit Siphon on staking. Good GA to come out. Resolution, meanwhile, cannot finish off the Juggernaut, and Weeha will end up falling here. Resolution now has to use his Diffuse Blood on Omega opponent to bring him down. Still out of shapeshift. It's actually a 2-for-1 exchange, as 747 does take down the Melon Man. Resolution now diffusing up staking. He's going to try to fight this all on his own. He's doing a pretty good job of it as well. As now Clairvoyant's about to fall. 747 is on the run. Triple kill. They glimpse him back, and he's in trouble. He's got another diffusal charge if need be, but Resolution's so low. He's going to have to run out now as he can't take that Timber Solid damage. Arrow will head up into Pat's hole, but no mana to use, of course, any of his Starstorm. And he will get caught out by 747 with another Timber Chain, as well as Rolling Death. Chakram Saksa will be able to make it away. The Force Half down to the low ground, keeps himself alive. What a hectic fight. That was crazy.
That was a beautiful fight, man. That looks so cool. Just really close both ways. Great plays by DC to go on the Jug, but the BKB counters the Static Storm. He almost kills Tide, but they back him up. Every fight was just allies backing up allies, and it actually cut towards Voidboys' way, considering the fact that they're behind here. They fought that fight great.
Voidboys did the best they possibly could, given the circumstances, and yeah, they got a lot of gold out of that last engagement. There's a 1,400 net with the lead is now dipping down to 1,200. They got about 2,000 gold out of that engagement, and a lot of that going to the Timbersaw, obviously. Patzel having to leave early on is a bit, I think, frustrating for him, not getting a lot of that gold there, but he did come back, and he did stay alive. Resolution, he had chased him for a good, like, 30 seconds or something, and he still couldn't find the kill.
Yeah, maybe he should have changed targets, but, you know, it didn't work out. Patzel stays alive, and he's going to be working on his next item soon. Maybe a Scotty next is what I'd like. Could go Butterfly, perhaps. Might be a good choice. Actually, could be a really good choice. Evades the Ghosts. Would evade Lycan as well. All the summons. I kind of like Butterfly this game for Jug.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. But it's going to take a while for him to get there. I mean, they're already missing one set of racks. They lose another team fight this game. I don't know if it just ends. They do have some buybacks, including on the Jug. But if he buys back, then he's just out. Sentry's going to be dropped. They know that the Lycan Wolves are following some of these Void Boy heroes, and, well, at least they were in a position to do so. Blink in, Ravage not there. BKB immediately popped from Patzel. Looking to turn this around, staking, finds the run to Weeha. Omni Slash on top, forced away. They need to keep him alive. Static Storm onto 3. Staking will fall first. Claire will be second. Patzel about to be third. Double kill for Resolution, and there's the GG. And as they lose that team fight, they just say, that's it. Let's get into game number 2 as quickly as possible. Moo gets the backstroke Ravage to end the game. It was for the first, he blinked in, it wasn't there. But see, he didn't need it, I guess. He blinked in, forced out the BKB. That Static Storm was more than enough, Purge, I think.
That was a little surprising Voidboys lost that fight so bad considering how the previous one went, but